Well, I know some of you out there live underneath a rock, but if you haven't been listening to the news, there's a little bit of a war going on in the state of Israel between Israel and a bunch of terrorists in the Gaza Strip. Apparently, there's been a drastic amount of civilian casualties, more than were in the Russian-Ukraine conflict, particularly of children, saying over half the population in Gaza are inbred children. And there's a lot of people who are taking real concerns on this matter and this issue, and what they really think and value espouses from their position on this. You know, you have a bunch of leftists and screeching communists screaming about the poor Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. And then you have your right-wingers or your traditional Americans, I guess you could put it, who are siding with the nation of Israel. Personally, I think picking sides in most conflict is rather pointless when there's a lot of other options out there. But nonetheless, you gotta pick whatever side is best for your interest. You can't worry about other people in a time of war and conflict. Only your own people. And a lot of these people who are choosing their own people aren't actually even choosing them because they're own people. An example of this is the Syrian girl partisan. You know, she's got quite the following. Was really big in the day. I guess she's in Thailand these days. Last time I heard, she was in Australia. Nothing new. Just a foreigner in a foreign land advocating for foreign interest. What I'm talking about is particularly Gaza. Here's her bitching and moaning about Netanyahu this, Greenblatt that, Tel Aviv this, Israel speaks in forked tongues like the devil. I'm not saying she's wrong in any of these things. I'm just saying I don't give a fuck about some Palestinians. And why does she? She's from Syria. Syrian girl. Not Palestinian girl. Syrian girl. Well, the reality is Syrian girl is a Muslim. So she's gonna side with the Muslims, even at Western civilization's expense. Truly tragic, even though she calls the West her home. I guess these days it's Thailand. Constantly shipping and shaping your nationality in some regards. At least underneath a liberal democracy's point of view, she could. But what I want to talk about is Gaza, mostly. Syrian girl's opinion on it is irrelevant because she's a Muslim from Syria. So who gives what the hell she thinks about it? The reality of this situation is simple. Gaza's screwed. Gaza doesn't exist. Palestine doesn't exist. It's not a nation whatsoever. Maybe a people, I can give you that. But a nation, don't think they fit those qualifications there. No, just a people. A people who are hell-bent on destruction and chaos. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but what they intend to instill from that chaos and destruction is the problem. What I'm talking about is Islamic law, Islamic values, Islamic principles, and living in an Islamic country. No thanks. I'll pass on that. And they already have a history of being rather violent and chaotic, trying to take over several nations. Qatar is one of them. Lebanon basically fell for the most part. I think they tried to do some shit in Egypt also at some point. And Jordan, they definitely did. So you have these rather nasty, low intelligent people that are hell-bent on their religious principles to achieve what they want. And you have the Israelis, who are also pretty much the exact same thing. And the reality is, which side do you choose? Do you support? Which one is best for the West? And the reality of that situation is Israel is what's best for the West. Unfortunately, so sad to say that the Yiddish people have to have their own little homeland that's not in Siberia, the autonomous oblast, I guess it was called in the USSR. No, they need the nation of Israel. Fine. They can have it. Gladly. Take Gaza along with it in the West Bank. From the Euphrates to the sea, Israel shall be free. Not Gaza. Gaza's already sealed its fate upon the creation of the State of Israel. There is no Gaza. It's just merely an area that's lumped up with a bunch of people who aren't recognized in any formal way by any government or institution globally. That matters. I'm sure there's a bunch of countries in Africa and Southeast Asia that really love the Palestinians and recognize their nation that lacks any sense of civilization, stability. That was all pretty much taken away from them, though. Can't put blame on them for that, especially after 60 years or so. I guess they could have formed something, but I don't know. I don't think they're capable of that. No, what they're capable of is being a thorn in everyone's side. Whether they're in their nation, an Islamic nation, or a Western nation, they always tend to be some sort of thorn in the side. And that's a problem. Because there are 2 million people in Gaza. 2 million. And Israel is hell-bent on removing those people. You see what I'm saying? If not, you have to realize that Israel hasn't never not gotten what it wanted. You know, sometimes it threw a hissy fit and had to drop a few bombs and blow up a few boats to get what they really want, but at the end of the day, either they get a majority of it or some of it. Or all of it, I guess. All of it or some of it. And Israel's already declared they don't want Gaza there anymore. Now, if Israel says what goes, then Gaza must go. But go where? Obviously, if you notice the general trends of third world nations being invaded, whether it's Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Somalia, and many others, it always leads to third world immigration to Europe. And that's what's going to happen to 2 million violent, inbred terrorists from the Gaza Strip. I don't know about you, but I really don't want 2 million Gazans shipped anywhere in the West. Let alone 100,000 here, 10,000 there, blah, blah, blah. It'd be unattainable. The changes that would cause in these very small communities that they'd end up clustering and creating their own little, Palestinian town, the Gaza garbage bin. No, I don't feel like turning a little bit of pieces here and there across the West into Gaza. I don't see that as an option. In fact, the way I see it, Gaza can only end in one way. And there's only one thing left for all of the women, children, and especially the fighting age men.